Shannon, you are one of the best storytellers that I know, in that you have embedded storytelling in everything that you do. And that includes telling stories to yourself. Where you say
the most important kind.
This is how I want this story to end, and then you know what path you're supposed to walk to get there. So you started earlier this week. You started sort of workshopping this idea of a storytelling framework, and I think it's more about the storytelling lifestyle, perhaps.
Yeah, and as I've kind of been working this through, I realized there's really two aspects to it, and one of them I've talked about before, but the second one, I don't know if we've talked about it a lot, but I know you know a lot about it. So I'd like to jump in and let's talk about my favorite. Is from a personal standpoint, is this concept of reverse storytelling, and in a nutshell, it's basically a system where you decide what you want your life to look like a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, whatever time frame you want, and you need to envision yourself telling that story to. I typically do it to a group of people sitting around a campfire. It's just my mental image.
Okay.
And then once you create that story in your head that's at the end, then you can create this roadmap to get there, right? And it's there's a lot more nuance to it.
So you make sure you come up with this story and then you tell it to other people to make it real for yourself. Is that right?
But I don't talk about what I'm going to do.
Oh,
I always talk about what I've done.
I see. You don't actually tell them you envision telling them at the campfire. I misunderstood.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, got it.
That's my anchor. So I'm throwing this anchor way out down the road.
Right.
I wanted to live in this, certain kind of house. I wanted to do this. I wanted that. I wanted these businesses. I wanted to feel like a member of the community. All these things that I have kind of visualizing the end game.
Yeah.
But I've done it along the way, like, okay, he's 5 years, this is kind of thing. And so, it works both ways, because in addition, and we've talked about this, Dave, at the same time I'm really focused on this story of success, I also chunk out a part of my brain to focus on the story of failure. And what would it look like if I failed? And what would it look like if I wasn't able to pay back the $1 million mistake that I made, 15, 20 years ago? What would my life look like if I had declared bankruptcy? What would it look like if I was not I do this personally too. What if I was not a great spouse and I wasn't surrounded, so I picture myself living in a little studio apartment, just miserable because I live most of my life outside. And so, you want to, I always picture myself like basking in the glory of success, but then real quick, I'm like, this could be the opposite of that. So that reverse storytelling is just a massive motivator for me. And, I've made it to a certain step, and I always say now I've made it to the other side of the grind, the daily grind, but there's still a lot that like unknowns of what I want to do next. And I'm creating that new story of what I want to be able to talk about 5 years down the line when a group of people are sitting around the campfire and they ask me, what do you do? Because I get asked that question all the time, and it's it's not easy to answer. What do you do? So that's that part of it.
People ask me, and what I usually do is start with, I used to use Mac Observer as the thing because it was the most public of the things that I'd done. Like most people over their lives, if they were interested in technology or, had an iPhone, they encountered Mac Observer at least randomly once, and so I could say that and be like, oh, and it would at least just let them understand what I did. And I think that was a big part of why I declined offers to sell it for so long. In retrospect, it was like, well, then what am I going to say? Because now I tell people I'm a professional podcaster. Well, that's not the only thing I do, but it is one of them, and it's not incorrect. And it's, especially when like a comedian asks, what do you do for a living? I'm a professional podcaster. They have a field day with this, So,
yes. But I always give them a quick and easy answer. And then I'm able to tell a lot about that person if they want to dive a little deeper.
They want to know
I
more.
always just say, yeah. Oh, I own small businesses. And many people, maybe most, say, oh, that's cool. But others that I maybe find a little more engaging say, oh, what kind of small businesses? That kind of thing. So that's reverse storytelling. I'm working on some stuff with that because I think it's really important. It served me so well.